Step 3 is assessing the presentation. This is to ensure that your actual now creation meets its objectives. And the best way to assess a presentation is number 1, use a video camera. Number 2 is use the video on your mobile phone. Or 3, use people that you trust who can give you positive feedback and also point out any things that you need to improve. Now, many people feel uncomfortable with the thought of video or seeing themselves on camera, but it really is the best way. If you're going to do really well in presentations, you need to assess your performance. And the reason you're assessing your performance is obviously to make sure that you achieve that objective. Now, the first 1 or 2 times will feel uncomfortable, but as time progresses, you'll start focusing on the things that you can improve, that can make the presentation better, so in order for you to achieve that outcome. Now, I just would like to cover a number of points that you need to be aware of when assessing your presentation. And the reason you assess the presentation is obviously, as we've mentioned already, is to make sure that you achieve your objective, but also do the slides work. Sometimes when you create PowerPoint slides or in any other piece of software, the text looks okay on the screen, but does it look okay to the people who are going to be at the back of the audience? Can they see it? Is it visible? Also, how do you sound? Are you talking at the correct pace? Are you talking too slowly, too quickly? Make sure, again, if you've done your audience analysis, you'll know who's in front of you and what knowledge they have. Also, make sure that when you're talking, you talk in a way that it's free from jargon or free from things, aspects or concepts that people may not understand. Another point to consider is the audio. So if you're going to play a video as part of your presentation, it may sound good on your laptop in front of 2 or 3 people, but make sure that if you're presenting to 10, 15, that people can hear it. Now, if you need speakers, make sure you test them, make sure that they work, make sure any audio or video is compatible on different laptops if you're handing in a memory stick to somebody. Again, these are some of the common mistakes that cause very, very good presentations to fall on their face somewhat because people don't actually, can't hear the audio or lose the message. So really important that you test all these things and that you assess that they work. Does the video that you use have the necessary impact that you thought it may do? So again, consider all these points with audio and with sound and with the way that you deliver your presentation. The next point to consider is how you look. So if you're presenting for a formal business presentation, make sure obviously you're dressed accordingly. Again, what video picks out here is aspects of body language. So make sure that your eye contact is consistent with all members of the audience. Make sure that you're not just looking at one person. But also it picks up on things that if you're looking at the floor, if your hands are in your pockets, there might be some mannerisms that you've got that you didn't even know you had that video can pick out. So really, really important that you assess how you look. The final 2 points I'd like to cover is number 1, spelling and grammar. So make sure that with your slides or with any handouts that you get somebody who's good in that particular language, especially at spelling and grammar, to make sure that it's correct. Even if you're very good, sometimes that when you write presentations you may miss little apostrophes, you may make assumptions, particularly if you're going to put people's names or titles on a particular presentation or a handout. Ensure everybody's name is spelled correctly. Again, sometimes there's different spellings. Sometimes when you get them off emails that they're spelt incorrectly. So make sure that you just go into this extra level of detail to make sure that everything's proper and correct. And the final point I wanted to cover is the timescales. Again, there's nothing worse than sitting through a presentation that's either too short or too long. Now, if you're too long, especially if you're delivering a business presentation or you're at interview, you may only have 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So make sure that you use the video to assess that you're on time and that you deliver your message. And that really is the assessment stage. It's really going into the finite detail to make sure that your message is delivered both correct and on time. Again, this is really important to make sure that when you walk away from the presentation, you've delivered everything you possibly can to make it a success.